Even though they use my phone, I can still use my phone where even though it's a hotspot. Oh. Um, Come, give me some prayers. Come. There's no difference, right? Shalom, Israel, Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua Baraka Thumb. To all the Akim out there, Yahweh Shamar Alathun, Bahashim Yahushua. To all the Akim out there, this is August 26th, the Sabbath Service, Baltimore Sabbath Service 2023. We're going to go ahead and get right into it today. We've been, just to give a recap, we have been pretty much talking about how Solomon has now been anointed as king over all of Israel. And the last time we were talking about how Solomon prayed for wisdom. And we talked about, how it wasn't just like magically appearing out of nowhere. If you look at the Proverbs of Solomon, he shows how to obtain wisdom. So Solomon more than likely obtained wisdom by walking and having wise counsel. Of course, he got a lot of things from his father, who taught him things, who set things in order. And then Israel started to see Solomon put his wisdom into practice when he had the situation with the two women, and one baby was dead. And now we're looking at how Solomon's kingdom was set up. And I told you last time that Solomon's kingdom, the way Solomon's kingdom is set up, is going to be it parallels how Yahweh Shai will have it. You had people from all around the earth come and pay tribute to Solomon. Well, that's what the nations are going to do when Yahweh Shai sets up his kingdom. You're going to have nations coming around and paying tribute to Yahweh Shai, paying tribute to him, giving honor to Yahweh Shai. Well, this is what they were doing in Solomon's time. They were bringing, and they were help building the kingdom as well. And of course, the heathen nations will help build our empire, the kingdom of the Most High, just like we have built their empire up. We built Washington, D.C., and we've helped build the railroads and helped build cities. And that's what will happen to the heathen when we are set up. So we're going to continue today. We're going to start in 1 Kings chapter 4, 15 through 21. All right, we're going to read it in the Hebrew first, and then we'll read it in the English.
Can you say the scripture again?
We're in 1 Kings chapter 4, and we're reading verses 15 through 21. All right, 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 15. Akhay ya mai tza, bana patholia. Salaki, but not patholia, Salaki. Gum, hawa laquak, af, washamath, bath, shalama, la asha. Verse 16. Ba'ain na'a, bun, kawashia, ba'ashar, wa ba'ai lawaf. Verse 17. Yahweh shapat, bun, parawak, by Yashashakar. By Yashashakar, it's like it. Verse 18. Shemaiah, bun, ala Banyaman. Verse 19. Wabar, Gabar, bun, Arya, Ba'aratazah, Gala'aid, Aratazah, Saya Kawan, Malak, Amaria, Wa'aid, Malak, Habashan, Wanatazayab, Achad, Ashar, Ba'aratazah. Verse 20. Yahawada, Wayasha'ala, Rabayam, Kakawal, Ashar, Al, Hayam, Larab, Akolium, Washathium, Washamahyum. Verse 21. Wayashalama, Haya, Mawashal, Bakal, Hamamalakwath, Man, Hanar, so like Hanahar, Aratazah, Halashathium, Aid, Gabawal, Tazarium, Magashium, Manacha, Wa'aibadium, Shalama, Kal, Yamya, Chayayawa. And that's it. We are now going to be reading 1 Kings chapter 4, 15 through 21 in the English.
1 Kings chapter 4, verse 15. Ahamaz was in Nephatilia. He also took Basmath, the daughter of Solomon, to wife. Verse 16. Banah, the son of Hushiah, was in Asher and in Aloth. Verse 17. Jehoshaphat, the son of Peruah, in Issachar. Salaki, verse 17. Jehoshaphat, the son of Peruah, in Issachar. Verse 18. Shemaiah, the son of Eliah, and Benjamin. Verse 19. Geber, the son of Uriah, was in the country of Gilead, and the country of Shihon, king of the Amorites, and of Og, king of Bashan, and he was the only officer which was in the land.
Stop right there for a second. Just to remind, Sihon and all the two kings that Joshua and Moses and them enslaved when they were coming into when they were in the wilderness. Those were two famous Amorite kings that that were slain. Go ahead.
All right, and it's a lot. The Amorites, they talking about Japanese.
No, that's the Amorites would be the they're also part of they also come from the Hamites. The Japanese and Chinese are what Moab and Ammon. The Amorite that there's Ammonites and then there's Amorites.
Oh, these are Amorites.
Amorite.
All right,
We're in
verse 20. Judah and Israel were many, as the sand which is by the sea, in multitude, eating and drinking and making merry. Verse 22. And Solomon reigned over all kingdoms from the river unto the land of the Philistines and unto the border of Egypt. They brought presents and served Solomon all the days of his life.
So if you notice here that it shows how the kingdom of what Solomon's kingdom was, how large it was, how the borders were, and these nations were bringing gifts. They were servants, King Solomon, and that's why I want you to see the comparison of how Yahweh's kingdom will be the kingdom of the Most High when Yahweh comes and sets up His kingdom, the kingdom of the power, kingdom of God. This parallels to that. All right, so this gives you an idea. All right, let's read it some more. Now we're going to go to excellent reading, man. Anybody have any questions or anything? All right, let's read some more. We're going to go to 1 Kings chapter 4, 22 through 28. We're going to read it in the Hebrew first, then in the English. 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 22 in the Hebrew. For Yahya, Lakam, Shalama, Layawam, Chad, Shalashiam, Kar, Salaf, Rashashiam, Kar, Quamach. Verse 23. Aishara, Bakwar, Barayam, Aishariam, Bakwar, Ra'aya, Wama'ah, Taza'an, Labad, Ma'alyal, Watazabya, Kamawar, Barabarium, Abawasayam. Verse 24, Chaya, Hawa'ah, Radah, Bakal, Ibar, Hanahar, Matha Pasak, Wa'aid, Izah, Bakal, Malakia, Ibar, Hanahar, Shalom, Haya, Lawa, Makal, Ibaryawa, Sabiyad. Verse 25, Wayashab, Yahawada, Wayasha'ala, Labatak, Ayash, Fakaf, Gapunwa, with a Kaf, Nathwa, Madan, Wa'ai, Ba'ar, Shabai, Call, Yamya, Shalomah. Verse 26. Verse 26. Where Yahya, Shalomah, Araba'ayam, Allah, Arawaf, Sawasyam, Lamara Kadwa, Rashunyam, Aishar, Allah, Parashiam, verse 27. Wakal Kowa, Hana Tazabyam, Ha'Allah, Af, Hamalak, Shalomah, Af, Kal, Hakorab, Al, Shalom Khan, Hamalak, Shalomah, Ayash, Kadashwa, La'ah, Ya'aidarwa, Dabar, verse 28. Waha Sha'aryam, Waha Thaban, Lasa Wasyam, Wala Larakash, Yaba'awa, Al, Hamakwam, Ashar, Yahya, Sham, Ayash, Kama Shapatwa, and that's it. All right, let's go ahead and read 1 Kings. We're reading in chapter 4, 22 through 28 in the English.
Verse 22. And Solomon's provision for one day was 30 measures of fine flour and 80 measures of meal. Provision, Shalaki, provision mean the amount that they gave him, right? Quota. The amount that they are supposed to give amount all the time. Verse 22, and Solomon's provision for one day was 30 measures of fine flour, 80 measure of meal. Verse 23, 10 fat oxen and 20 oxen out of the pasture, and 100 sheep, besides harts and roebucks and fallow deer and fattened fowl. Verse 24, and for he had dominion over all the region on this side the river, from Tifsa, Tifsa, and even to Zaah, over all the kings on the side the river, and he had peace on all sides round about him. Verse 25, and Judah and Israel dwelt safely, every man under his vine and under his fig tree.
Stop right there. A precept to that, I think a precept to that is in Isaiah and Malachi, which says everybody will dwell on their own vine tree. And this is talking about, the kingdom of God when the kingdom of God is set up. So, when you look at this, like I said, when you look at this chapter, this gives you a very good glimpse. Also, if you look in Revelation, I believe it's 21 or 20, it says when the new heavens and new earth come, it shows how the kings of the earth will come and pay tribute to the city of Jerusalem. This kind of parallels here. These kings come and pay tribute to Solomon. All right, go ahead.
So just to get a review, they had a quota to make for a certain amount of things that they presented to Israel, us, as a tribute,
especially to the king.
And that was for each world,
each nation. And this is Slack. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And this is what this is another thing. What made this is how we are going to be so rich, and when Yahushua comes, because these nations will be paying tribute. Like, just take a look at the Khazarians, the Jewish man. People give billions of dollars to Israel every year. Every year, they're getting billions and billions of dollars. Nations around the world are giving the Khazarian Jewish man billions of dollars paying tribute. Well, they're going to pay tribute to us. We're going to get tributes to different. We're going to have different types of resources that are going to be shared and given to us when we're rolling over.
And Khan, basically, he ruled over all of them, and everybody had peace. Like, even the people that was paying tributes to Israel, they had peace under their own.
Well, I mean,
under the region that they was.
Well, they had peace because they were doing what Solomon told them to do. If you think of a precept in Zechariah, it says the nations will have to come and especially Egypt and keep the Feast of Tabernacles. If they don't, they'll be cursed. So you got, you have peace when you doing what you're supposed to do under the Most High.
It's like, what could you, like the scripture say, like when the wicked are in charge, the earth mourns. But when the righteous are in charge, the earth rejoices.
Excellent.
We'll be in charge, and because we have righteous rulership, those other nations are still going to rejoice. What else?
Verse 26, and Solomon had 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots, and 20,000 horsemen. Verse 27, and those officers provided victual for King Solomon. And for all that came unto King Solomon's table, every man in his month, they lacked nothing. Slightly. That means every person came, every region outside of Israel had a month assigned to where they came and gained stuff.
And when this is victual, it's like victuals, like food. They provide food for the king
on their own month.
Come.
And what? Oh, victual is food.
It's like the old folks used to pronounce it victuals. It means food. That's the way it used to be pronounced. Even though it says victuals, but it used to be pronounced as victuals. That's like food.
Come. Verse 28. Barley also and straw for the horses, and dromedaries brought unto the place where the officers were, every man according to his charge.
All right. Now we'll go ahead and continue reading. We're now going to be reading 1 Kings. We're going to be reading chapters 4, 29, and verses 29 to 34. And then we're going to be reading 1 Kings 5:1. All right. 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 29 in the Hebrew. Excuse me. Wayathan, Alahayim, Kakama, Lashama, Wathabawana, Harabah, Ma'ad, Warakab, Lab, Kakawal, Ashar, Al, Shapath, Hayam, verse 30. What's up? Tharab, Kakamath, Shalamah, Machakamath, Call, Bunya, Wadum, Wama, Call, Kakamath, Matazarium, verse 31. Waya Kakam, Makal, Ha'adam, Ma'ayathan, Ha'azarachya, Waha Yaman, Wakal Kal, Wada Dai, Bunya, Makawal, Wayahaya, Shamwa, Bakal, Hagawayam, Sabayah, verse 32. Wayadabar, Shalashka, Alatyam, Mashal, Wayahaya, Shayarwa, Chamasha, Wa'alak, verse 33. Wayadabar, Al, Ha'ai Tazayam, Man, Ha'ari, Ha'arazah, Ashar, Balabanwan, Wa'ai, Ha'azarwab, Ashar, Yataza'ah, Bakwayar, Wayadabar, Al, Habahama, Al, Ha'aiwa, Wa'al, Haramash, Wa'al, Hadagium, verse 34. Wayabawa, Makal, Ha'ayim, Lashamai, Af, Hakamath, Shalama, Ma'af, Kal, Malachia, Ha'aratazah, Ashar, Shamaiwa, Af, Hakamathwa. Book of 1 Kings, chapter 5, verse 1 in the Hebrew. Wayashalach, Hayaram, Malak, Tazawar, Af, Ibadyawa, Al, Shalamah, Kaya, Shemai, Kaya, Afwa, Mashamak, Lamalak, Fakaf, Abiyahawa, Kaya, Ahab, Haya, Hayaram, Ladawada, Kal, Hayamyam, and that's it. All right, we're now going to be reading 1 Kings chapter 4, 29 to 34 in the in the English, and then 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 1.
1 Kings chapter 4, verse 29. And the Most High gave Solomon wisdom and understanding, exceeding much, and largeness of heart, even as the sand that is on the seashore. Verse 30. And Solomon's wife excelled the wisdom of all the children of the east country in all the wisdom of Egypt.
And Solomon's wisdom exceeded.
Come. And Salaki, verse 30. And Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the east country and all the wisdom of Egypt. Verse 21. 31. For he was wiser than all men, than Ethan, the Israelite, than Heman, and Chalco, and Darda, the son of Mahol, and his fame was in all nations round about. Verse 32. And he spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. 33. And he spake a tree, and he spake of trees from the cedar tree that is in Lebanon, even unto the hyssop that stringeth out of the wall. He spake also of breasts, and of fowl, and of creeping things, and of fishes. 34. And there came of all people to hear the wisdom of Solomon, from all kings of the earth, which had heard of his wisdom. Verse 5, chapter 5, verse 1. 1 Kings, chapter 5, verse 1. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the room of his father. For Hiram was ever a lover of David.
Right, excellent. So we see how Solomon's fame is spread out, and kings would come and pay tribute to him, and kings would come to him. People come to hear wisdom of him. People come to learn from him. Okay, and a precept, in Isaiah, where it talks about the nations will say, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of God, and He will teach us His ways and His laws." It's the same thing that you see here. These people are coming up to learn from Solomon. It's a Solomon's wisdom exceeded all the kings around. So people around that area were coming to Solomon for wisdom, for understanding. And it's the same thing that they'll do with Yahushua. They'll come to Yahushua for wisdom, for understanding. All right? Excellent. All right, let's continue. Let's go to 1 Kings 5. And we're going to, chapter 5 of Shalom. Chapter 5, and we're going to go verses 2 through 8. 1 Kings chapter 5, we're going to be reading verse 2 through 8 in the Hebrew. 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 2. Wayashalak, Shalamah, all, Chayaram, Amar, verse 3. Atha, Yadaith, Dawada, Abiyah, Kaya, La'a, Yakal, Labanwath, Layash, Lasham, Yahawa, Alahayawa, Bapunya, Hamala, Hamad, Ashar, Saba, Hawa, Ai, Faf, Yahawa, Atham, Akath, Kapawath, Ragola. Verse 4. Wa'aitha, Hanayak, Yahawa, Alahaya, Laya, Masabayab, Ayan, Shatan, Wa'ayan, Hagai, Rai. Verse 5. Wahananya, Amar, Labanwath, Bayath, Lasham, Yahawa, Alahaya, Ka'ashar, Dabar, Yahawa, Al, Dawada, Abiyah, La'amar, Banka, Ashar, Athan, Lakafika, Al, Ka, Hawa'a, Yabana, Habayath, Lashamya, verse 6. Wa Aitha, Tazawa, Waya Karathwa, Laya, Arajium, Mun, Malabunwan, Wa Ibadia, Yahayawa, Ain, Ibadyaka, Wa Shakar, Ibadyaka, Athan, Laka, Kakar, Ashar, Fa Amar, Kaya, Atha, Yadaif, Kaya, Ayan, Bunwa, Ayash, Yadai, Lakaraf, Itazayam, Katazadanyam, verse 7. Yahaya, Kashamai, Kayaram, Af, Dabaria, Shalama, Wayashamak, Ma'ad, Wayamar, Barak, Yahawa, or Barawak, Salakia, Yahawa, Hayawam, Ashar, Nathan, Ladawada, Bun, Kokam, Al, Ain, Harab, Hazah, verse 8. Wayashalak, Hayaram, Al, Shalama, Amar, Shema'ithya, Ashar, Shalak, Alya, Anya, Aisha, Atha, like Call, Kapatisaka, Aitazaya, Arazium, but Waba Aitazaya, Barashium, and that's it. Right, we're now going to be reading 1 Kings chapter 5, 2 through 8 in the English.
1 Kings chapter 5, verse 2. And Solomon sent Hiram, saying, verse 3, Thou knowest how that David my father could not build an house unto the name of the Most High, for the wars which were about him on every side, until the Most High put them under the soles of his feet. Verse 4. But now the Most High have given me rest on every side, so that there is neither adversary, nor evil occurring. Verse 5. And behold, I propose to build an house unto the name of the Most High, as the Most High spoke unto David my father, saying, Thy son, whom I will set upon thine throne in thine room, he shall build an house unto my name. Verse 6. Now, therefore, command thou that they hew me cedar trees out of Lebanon, and my servants shall be with thine servants. And unto thee will I give hire for thine servants, according to all that thou shalt appoint. For thou knowest that there is not among us any that can skill to hew timber like unto the Sidonians, the Sidonians. Verse 7. And it came to pass, when Hiram heard the words of Solomon, that he rejoiced greatly, and said, Blessed be the Most High this day, which hath given unto David a wise son over his great people. Verse 8. And Hiram sent to Solomon, saying, I have considered the things which thou sentest to me for, and I will do all thine desire concerning timber of cedar, and concerning timber of fir.
All right. So you see that Solomon is going to get help from King Hiram to help, get the cedars to help build the temple, to help build the temple. All right. Come, go ahead, sis. The Sidonians come from, I believe they were from the Phoenicians. They come from the Phoenician city. I believe they were they were, I think they were like sea people, the Sidonians. They come from an ancient city called Phoenicia. I got to show you. I need to maybe show you on the map afterwards where they were. They weren't Israel, like a tribe of Israel, but they were a nation of people. But it's an ancient Phoenicia is where they came from. I think they were on the coast. They were people on the coast. They're known for a lot of things. They used to make the like certain garments from seashells, from famous seashells. I think that's how they used to dye certain garments. They would take they were unique. They would take certain garments and take the seashells from certain sea animals and dye that with the color like purple or blue. They were unique people, but they were on the coast in that area of Canaan, the Phoenicians. So that's where the Sidonians were.
So
I'll show you. After class, I'll show you on the map where they were. Go ahead.
do we know what nation of people like did they
The Sidonians, I believe they were from Canaan. I think they were Canaanites.
Africans?
They come from Hamites. The Sidonians. But I'll double check, make sure. But I believe that because you got to remember they were in the land of Canaan, and you had all those nations around. Like you had the Amorites, the Sidonians. They were in the land. I mean, that's our land. But when we came into that land, you had those different Hamite nations all throughout that land. But yeah, so the Sidonians were Hamites. Pretty much, they were Hamites. But I'll show you on the map where they dwell. Because I think they were also because the Philistines were also Hamites, and they also I think were sea dweller people too, like on the coast. So but I'll show you on the map. Good question. All right. Let me see. Now we're going to be reading 1 Kings. We're in chapter 5. We're going to be reading 9 through 15 in the Hebrew, and then we'll get it in the English. 1 Kings chapter 5, 9 through 15 in the Hebrew. Verse 9. Ibadya, Yaradwa, Man, Halaban, Yama, wa Anya, Aisha, Yaman, Dabarathwa, Dabarawath, Bayam, I, Hamakwawam, Ashar, Lashalak, Alya, Wana Patazathium, Sham, Wa'atha, Fasha'a, Wa'atha, Aisha, Kapatazaya, Lathath, Lakam, Bayathya, verse 10. Wayahaya, Hayarwam, it's like Hayarawam, it's like Nathan, Lashalama, Aitazaya, Arazium, Aitazaya, Bararashium. Verse 11. Washalama, Nathan, Lachayaram, Asharium, Alat, Kar, Katyam, Malakath, Labayathwa, Aisharium, Kar, Shaman, Kafayath, Kaha, Yathan, Shalama, Lachayaram, Shana, Bashana, verse 12. Wayahaya, Nathan, Kakama, Lashalama, Kaashar, Dabar, Lawab, Yahaya, Shalom, Bayan, Bayan, Chayaram, Wabayan, Shalama, Waya Karathwa, Bariath, Shane Yaham, verse 13. Waya Al, Hamalak, Shalama, Mas, Makal, Yasha'ala, Wayahaya, Hamas, Shalasium, Alak, Ayash, Verse 14, Wayashalacham, Laban Wana, Asharath, Alakyam, Bachadash, Kalayapawath, Hadash, Yahayawa, Balalabanwath, Shunyam, Kadashyam, Baba Yathwa, Dunyaram, Al, Hamas. Verse 15. Yahaya, Shalama, La Shalama, Shabayam, Allah, Nisha'ah, Sabal, Washamanyam, Allah, Katazab, Bahar. And that's it. Okay, now we're going to be reading 1 Kings chapter 5, 9 through 15 in the English.
1 Kings chapter 5, verse 9. My servant shall bring them down from Libyan unto the sea, and I will convey them by sea and floats unto the place that thou shalt appoint me, and I will cause them to be discharged there, and thou shalt receive them, and thou shalt accomplish my desire in giving food for my household. So this scripture right here, verse 9.
Verse 9.
Can you break this down like?
My servant shall bring them down from Lebanon. And let me go to verse. Let's read 2 verses above it.
As far as though what he doing in here.
Yeah,
like,
read 2 verses above it. Go to verse 7. And we'll go to verse. Go ahead.
1 Kings chapter 5, verse 7. And it came to pass, when Hiram heard the words of Solomon, that he rejoiced greatly, and said, Blessed be the Most High this day, which has given unto David a wise son over this great nation. Verse 8. And Hiram sent to Solomon, saying, I have considered the things which thou sentest to me for, and I will do all thy desire concerning timber of cedar and concerning timber of fir. Verse 9. My servant shall bring them down unto Libyan unto the sea, and I will convey them by sea and floats unto the place that thou shalt appoint me, and I will cause them to be discharged there, and thou shalt receive them, and thou shalt accomplish my desire in giving food for my household.
Okay, so basically, when this is almost like, if you want to think of this kind of like a treaty, when kings made treaties with each other, this is almost like a trade-off, because you got to think Hiram is actually giving Solomon, supplies for his temple. So in exchange, Solomon is going to provide for him as well. It's almost, how when kings anciently made treaties with one another, they pretty much would do a trade-off with each other. All right. That makes sense. So pretty much it's like a treaty between two kings. Okay, because you gotta remember Hiram is providing all the cedars and the supplies for Solomon. You notice how he said, I'm gonna bring my ships, because the Sidonians pretty much were like sea people. And he's gonna use those ships to bring all the logs and the cedars. And because of that, Solomon's also gonna provide for him. It's almost like a trade-off, like a treaty. When kings would do things for each other, they almost like made a treaty with each other. So he's like, because I'm gonna provide this, and in return, thank you for providing this for me as well. So it's almost like a trade-off, but he's bringing all these the logs and stuff down. He's bringing his servants down to supply for the temple.
All right, fine.
All right.
Verse 10. So Hiram gave Solomon cedar trees and fir trees according to all his desires.
And if you notice in this next verse, it's going to show what Solomon gives to him. It's like a trade-off.
Verse 11. And Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 measures of wheat for food to his household, and 20 measures of pure oil. Thus gave Solomon to Hiram year by year.
Because you remember Solomon had I don't want to say endless, but he had access to all of that because people were paying tribute to him. You got to remember, all these kings, by the month, were providing provisions for Solomon. So it was nothing for Solomon to provide something for King Hiram. because of all what King Hiram was doing.
Count.
That was nothing for him. All right.
Verse 12. And the Most High gave Solomon wisdom as he promised him. And there was peace between Hiram and Solomon. And they two made a league together.
So it's pretty much like a treaty. They made like a, what's another word? Like a confederacy in a sense.
All
right.
Verse 13. And King Solomon raised a levy out of all Israel, and the levy was 30,000 men. Verse 14. And he sent them by Libyan, 10,000 a month by course. A month they were in Libyan, and 2 months at home. And Adoniram was over the levy. Verse 15. And Solomon had 310,000 that bear burdens, and 80,000 hewers in the mountains.
All right. Excellent reading. Excellent reading. All right. Right. Let's see. So I can give you 1 second. All right, let's go ahead and continue. So I can for that. Let's go ahead and continue. We're in 1 Kings. We're in chapter 5, 16 through 18. And then we're going to jump over to chapter 6. And we're going to be reading verses 1 through 4. So I can just make sure all my information is down. All right, 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 16 in the Hebrew. Labad, Masharia, Hana Tazabia, La Shalama, Ashar, Al, Hala. The screen is moving for some reason. Ashar, Al, Hala, Hamala, Akab, Shalashta, Alatyam, Shalash, Ma'awaf, Haradyam, Ma'ain, Ha'aishayam, Bamalaka. Verse 17. Waya Tazawa, Hamalak, Waya Saiwa, Abanyam, Gada Lawas, Abanyam, Yakwara Was, Laya Sad, Haba Yath, Abanya, Gaza Yath. Verse 18. Verse 18. Waya Pasowa, Bunya, Shalama, Wabanya, Hayarawam, Waha Gabalium, Wayah Hai Tazayam, Waha Abanyam, Labanwaf, Abayath. All right, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 6, reading verses 1 through 4. 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 1 in the Hebrew. Wayahaya, Bashamawanyam, Shana, Rabbi, Ma'awaf, Shana.
We skipped 16 and 17.
We skipped 16 and 17?
Stopped at 15.
So I did I miss something? Oh, I didn't read 16 and 17?
No, it's laggy.
Oh, I didn't read it. So let me try it again. All right, 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 16. Salakia. Ladabar, Masharia, Hana Tazabian, Lasha Lama, Ashar, Al, Hamala Akab, Shalashta, Alatyam, Shalash, Ma'awaf, Haradyam, Ma'ain, Haishyam, Bamala Akab. Verse 17. Waya Tazawa, Hamalak, Waya Sa'aiwa, Abanyam, Gadalawaf, Abanyam, Yaquara Wath, Laya Sad, Habayath, Abunya, Gazayath, verse 18. Waya Pasola, Bunya, Salama, Wabunya, Kayarawam, Waha Gabalyam, Waya Kayanawa, Waya Kayanawa, Haiz Tazayam, Waha Ababunyam, Laba Nawaf, Habayaf. All right. 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 1. Wayahaya, Bashamo Wanyam, Shana, Rabai, Ma'awaf, Shana, Lataza'ah, Bunya, Yasha'ala, Marataza, Matazariam, Bashana, Harab Ya'ayaf, Bakadash, Zarab, Hadash, Hashanya, Hamalak, Shalamah, Yasha'ala, Wayabun, Habayath, La Yahweh, verse 2. Wahabayath, Ashar, Vanah, Hamalak, Shalamah, La Yahweh, Shashyam, Amah, Arakwa, Aishariam, Rakhabwa, Hashalashiam, Amah, Select Amha, Select Mathwa, verse 3. Waha Wathium, Waha Alawalium, Select, I keep saying that wrong. Waha Alawalam, Select, Wa'iwalam, Select, Al Punya, Hayakal, Habayath, Asharium, Amha, Arakya, Al Punya, Rakhab, Habayath, Ashar, Bahama, Rahabwa, Al Punya, Habayath, verse 4, where Aisha, Labayath, Kalawanya, Shakwakyam, Atumyam, and that's it. We're now going to be reading 1 Kings. We're going to be reading chapter 5, 6 through 18. Then we're going to be jumping to 1 Kings chapter 6, 1 through 4 in the English.
1 Kings chapter 5, verse 16. Besides the chief of Solomon's officers, which were over the work 3,300, which ruled over the people that were wroth and the work. Verse 17. And the king commanded, and they brought great stones, costly stones, and huge stones, to lay the foundation of the house. Verse 18. And Solomon's builders and Hiram's builders did hew them, and the stones corners, so they prepared timber and stones to build the house. Verse 6. And it came to pass. Chapters 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass in the 418th year, after the children of Israel were out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Zeph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Most High. Okay. Verse 2. And the house which King Solomon built for the Most High, the length thereof was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits, and the height thereof 30 cubits. Where am I stopping at again, sir?
Go ahead to verse 4. All in verse 4.
Verse 3. And the porch before the temple of the house, 20 cubits was the length thereof, according to the breadth of the house, and 10 cubits was the breadth thereof before the house.
And just to let people know, like a cubit, they used to measure a cubit from pretty much a man's elbows to pretty much the top of his fingertips. That was like kind of like a cubic measurement. Probably around 15, 18 inches, somewhere around there. All right.
And for the house he made windows of narrow lights.
Excellent.
Salaki, what is windows of narrow lights?
Well, I'm assuming it's like small type windows instead of narrow lights. I'm talking about. I'm assuming, but let me do a recheck on that.
Oh, okay. So you're saying it was
Maybe
that
like
it might
narrow,
be a narrow
window.
a
That's
slim window
That's what I'm thinking.
for
But let me double
for light to come through.
the
They
light
just
to come
said
in.
narrow lights.
That's
Okay.
what I'm thinking. But I'll do a checkup on that one. All right. 1 Kings chapter 6. We're reading 5 through 11. And this is the final scripture for the day. All right, 1 Kings chapter 6, we're reading 5 to 11, read it in Hebrew, and then we'll go to the English. 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 5. Wayabun al Koryar Habayah Yatazawai Sabayab Af Koryarawaf Habayah Sabayab Lahayakal Wala Dabaryar wa Aisha Taza Laiwaf Sabayab, verse 6. Haya Tazawai Hatha Hafna Kamash Ba'ama Rahaba Waha Fayakana Shash Ba'ama Rahaba Waha Shalayashyaf Shabai Ba'ama Rahaba Kaya Magaraiwaf Nathan Labayah Sabayab Kawataza'a Labalafia Azak Chaz like it Bakwara Yawaf Habayaf, verse 7. Verse 7. Wahabayaf Baha Banathya Banathwa Aban Shalama Ma'ai Masai Nabana Wama Wabawaf Wahagorazan Call Kolya Barazal La'a Nashamai Babayaf Baha Banathwa, verse 8. Pathat Ha Tazalai Hatha Yakana Al Kathat Habayaf Haya Manayaf Wabala William Ya'awa Al Hafya Hafya Kana Waman Hatha Yakana Al Hashalashim, verse 9. Verse 9. Wayabun Af Habayaf Wayakalahwa Waya Sapan Af Habayaf Gabayam Gabium, Gabium, Washa Darath Ba'ara Azium, verse 11. Wayabun Af Hayatazawai Al Kol Habayaf Kamash Amawaf Kwawa Maswa Waya Akza Af Habayaf Ba'ay Tazaya Arajium, verse 11. Wayahaya Dabar Yahweh Al Shalama La Amar, and that's it. All right, this is the last scripture we're now going to be reading. 1 Kings chapter 6, 5 through 11 in the English.
Come on. 1 Kings chapter 6. Verse 5. And against the wall of the house he built chambers around about, against the walls of the house around about, both of the temple and of the oracles, and he made chambers round about. Verse 6. The nethermost chamber was 5 cubits broad, and the middle was 6 cubits broad, and the third was 7 cubits broad. For without in the walls of the house he made narrowed rest round about, that the beams should not be fastened in the walls of the border of the house. Verse 7. And the house, when it was in building, was built of stone, made ready before it was brought thither, so that there was neither hammer nor axe nor any tool of iron heard in the house, while it was in building. Verse 8, the door for the middle chamber was in the right side of the house, and they went up with winding stairs into the middle chamber, and out of the middle into the third. Verse 9, so he built the house and finished it, and covered the house with beams and boards of cedar. Verse 10, and then he built chambers against all the house, 5 cubits high, and they rested on the house with timber of cedar. Verse 11, and the word of the Most High came to Solomon, saying,
All right. All right. That concludes that for today. All right. Any questions? Keep it here. Let's see. All right. Imanium, just the people up here.
Ya Sha'ala. La Ya Sha'ala.
Right, this is for everybody. Imanium. What you call it?
What Panya Aquadum means, which means rise and face the east. This is the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Qudash. Ayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malak Wafka. Taba'ah. Watazayaka. Ayah. Aisha. Ba'aratiza. Kawa. Ayah. Bashemayim. Nathan. Salati. Nathan Lanawa. Lakam. Ko. Yawam. Wasalak Lanawa. Kabawak Nawa. Kasalak Nawa. Kabawak Yanawa. Wala'ah. Dabaya'ai Yanawa. Basanayawan. Abo. Hawashaya Nawa. Mayan. Ra'ah. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Waha'ala. Wahatapa Arak. Good. Hold on. La'awalamyam. Aman, and in the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. Forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. Lead us not to temptation. But deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it. Come. Yahweh. This is Hakat, the power. Yahweh. Bahashim Yahushua. Baba Kushah. Nathanael,
Nathanael,
Hakat,
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 Lakat,
Lapar, Larapa,
Larapa'ah,
Ko Malakawa,
Kamaka Allah,
Hawaii, Wako Marawan,
Makol Marawa,
Hakat,
Hakat,
Latahar,
Latahar,
Hamatazaranium,
Hamatazarayim,
Hakat,
Hakat,
Lahakium,
Lahakium,
Hamakium,
Hamakium,
Hakat.
Hakat,
Al-Karawath,
Arakawawath,
Hatamala,
Hatama'ala,
Lagarashan,
Lagarashan,
Bahashim,
Ba'ashem,
Yahusha,
Yahusha,
Tawada,
Tawada,
Aman,
Aman, and then the English, Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahusha,
In the name of Yahusha,
please give us the power,
please give us the power
the power to heal
to heal
all manner of sickness,
all manner of sickness
and all manner of disease,
and all manner of
the
disease,
power to cleanse the leper,
power to cleanse the leper,
the power to raise the dead,
power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean spirits,
power against unclean
to
spirits,
cast them out,
to cast them out.
in the name of
In
Yahusha,
the name of Yahusha,
thank you, so be it.
so big. And
All
this
right,
is and this is bless Israel,
come,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahashim,
Hashem,
Yahusha,
Yahusha,
Barak Lanawa,
Barak Lanawa,
Yasa, Israel is Wa Yasha'ala,
Wa Yasha'ala,
Wahaba Arak,
Wahabayaf,
Sapari,
Sapari,
Rak,
Barak,
Rapah,
Rapah,
Magun,
Magun,
Hagun,
Hagun,
Bahashim Yahusha,
Hashem Yahusha,
Tawada Aman,
Tawad Aman, and in the English, Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahusha,
In the name of Yahusha,
bless us,
and
Israel,
Israel,
and the school,
bless,
heal,
heal,
shield, protect,
protect.
in the name of Yahusha,
In the name of Yahusha,
thank you, so be it.
so be it. And these are the blessings. Barak,
Barak,
Athan,
Athah,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Wa Yahusha,
Wa Yahusha,
Wa Mayaka Allah,
Wa Mayaka Allah,
Wa Alamium,
Wa Alahayim,
Alahayim. Matazabaya, Matazabya'a,
Watazabya'a,
Alawak,
Alawak,
Yahana,
Yahana,
Ha Alawakim,
Alawakim,
Hasaramium,
Hasaranyam,
Hakwatazayanyum,
Hakwatazayanyam,
Hakayalamium,
Hakayoyolyam,
Waha Akwakim,
Akwakim,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Bahashim Yahusha,
Hashem Yahusha,
the water Aman.
Tawad Aman, in the English. Bless you, Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh,
and Yahusha,
and Yahusha,
and Michael,
and Michael,
and the angel,
and the angel,
Commander General Yohana,
Commanding General Yana,
the general,
the
captain,
captain,
the officer,
of
the troopers,
troops,
and the sisters,
and the sister,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahusha,
in the name of Yahusha,
thank you,
so be it.
so be it. This is Psalm 121 in the Hebrew. Aisha,
Aisha,
Ayanya,
Ayanya,
Ahahari,
Ahahari,
Ma'ayan,
Ba'ayan,
Yaba'a,
Yaba'a,
Azari,
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 Ma'ain,
Ma'ain,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Shamayam,
Shamayam,
Wa'aratiza,
Wa'arat,
Ayathan,
Ayatan,
Lamawat,
Lamawat,
Ragalka,
Gol,
Ayanawam,
Alawam,
Shamarka,
Shamar,
Hana,
Hana,
La'a,
La'a,
Yanawam,
Yanawam,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Yagishan,
Yajashan,
Shawamar,
Shawamar,
Yasha'ala,
Yasha'ala,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Shamarka,
Shamar,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Tazalka,
Tazal,
Al-Yad,
Aliyah,
Yamyaka,
Yamyaka,
Yawamam,
Yawamah,
Hashamash,
Hashamat,
La'a,
Ya'a,
Yakaka,
Yakaka,
Wayarak, Walayala,
Wayala'a,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Yashamarka,
Yashamar,
Makora,
Makora,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Napashka,
Azapasha,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Taza'atka,
Taza'at,
Wabawaka,
Wabawaka,
Mayata,
Mayata,
Wa'ai,
Wa'ai,
Awalam,
Alawam,
Amam.
Amam. And in the English, I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes into the hill.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh,
My help cometh from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be
You
moved.
will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth
He
thee
that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right
The
hand.
sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
Yahweh shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in
from this time forth,
from this time forth,
even forevermore.
even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it. So this is Psalms 83. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Abdamayam Akab.
Al-Dalamayaka,
Al-Zakarash.
Al-Zakarash,
Al-Shakwat.
Wa-Al-Zakarash,
Al. Kayahana.
Hayahana,
Yab Yakab.
Awab-Yaka,
Yahama Yawan.
Yahama Yawan,
Shanayaka.
Woman-Shanayaka,
Sha'awab.
Ayashawah,
Ra'ash.
Ra'ah,
Al-Aimaka.
Al-Aimaka,
Da'irayamu.
Da'irayamu,
Sawab.
Sawab,
Wayataya'ai.
Wayataya'ai, Tazawab,
Zabawanyaka.
Ayatazawanyaka,
Marwa.
Marwa.
Lakawa. Wanakaki.
Wanakaki.
Galia.
Galia.
Wala. Yisakar.
Yisakar.
Sham Yasha'al.
Sham Yasha'al.
Aywa.
Aywa.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Now, I Tazawab.
Ayatazawab,
La.
La.
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Ayaka.
Ayaka.
Barya.
Barah.
Yakurakwa.
Yakurakwa.
Aholia.
Aholia.
Adawam.
Adawam,
Mishamai Aliyah.
Ujai Sadawam,
Wa'abam.
Waba'ab,
Wahagarian.
Wahagari,
Gabal.
Gabal,
Wa'amawan.
Wa'ayamam,
Wa'amalak.
Wa'amalak,
Kalashah.
Kalashah,
Amyashabya.
Ayashabya,
Tazawar.
Tazawar,
Gam Ashawar.
Gam Ashawar,
Nalawa.
Nalawa,
Imam.
Imam,
Hayawam.
Ayawa,
Zabarai.
Zarewa,
Labanya.
Labanya,
Wat.
Wat,
Salah.
Salah,
Aishalaham.
Aishalaham,
Kamanya.
Kamanya,
Kasa Yasara'ah.
Kasabasara'ah,
Kayabyan.
Kayabyan,
Nakal.
Nakal,
Koyashwan.
Wat,
Nishamadwa.
Shemashwa,
Ayan. Aram.
Danta, Arak,
Hayawa. Daman. Daman. So you're done with. Then the Yahuwah. Ka'irab. Because of Abba. Because of Bak. Because of Zolmanai. When so you come with. Ashar.
Ashar,
Marwa.
Marwa,
Rashad.
Rashad,
Lanawa.
Ah,
Nawas.
Nawas,
Alahayim.
Alahayim,
Alahayim.
Alahayim,
So you're done with.
You're done with.
Kagola.
Kagola,
Kakwash.
Kwash,
Panyarakab.
Panyarakab,
Ash.
Ash,
So you're Ira.
Ivan,
Kalahat.
Alahat,
Harya.
Harya.
Come. The Radat. What's up? Irica.
What's up, Irica?
What's up? Pasta. Falabaham.
Alabaham,
Mala'a.
Mala'a,
Yaham.
Malawan,
Palawan.
Malawan,
Yaquashwa.
Yaquash,
Shanka.
Shanka,
Yahau.
Yahau,
Yahwashwa.
Yahwashwa,
Yahowa.
Yahowa,
Ayai.
Ayai,
Yapara.
Yapara,
Yababa.
Yababa,
Aiwa. Kaya. Asa. Shanka.
Shanka,
Yahawa.
Yahawa,
Labaka.
Labaka,
Ayuam.
Ayuam,
Akal.
Akal,
Aratasa.
Aratasa,
Aman.
Aman. And these are the curses.
No, we're doing English.
I don't come. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thine peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
For lo,
For
thy enemies make a tumult,
thy enemies make a tumult.
and they that hate thee
They that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thine people,
against thy people,
and consulted against thy hidden
and
ones.
consulted against thy head.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come,
and let us cut them off from being a nation,
let us cut them off from being a nation,
that the name of Israel may be no more remembered. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Saul, which perish at Endor. They become as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb. Yea, all the princes of Zabak and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of Yahweh in possession. O my power, make them like a wheel, as the stumble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, as the flame set up the mountain on fire. So persecute them with thine tempest, and make them afraid with thine storm. Fear their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. So be it.
These are the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shah.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against us.
That speak against
Thy
us.
prophet.
Thy prophet.
The teacher.
Thy teacher.
The prince.
The prince.
The priest.
The priest.
The Israelite brothers.
The Israelite brothers.
And the school.
And the school.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose the treasure.
Shake loose the treasure.
Of the rich of Israel.
Of the rich of Israel.
Refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches.
Into that sanctuary.
Into thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nation.
And the nation.
And their drug dealers.
Their drug dealers.
The court system.
The court system.
The prison system.
The prison system.
Planned Parenthood. All the governments are our enemies.
All the governments are our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and arms.
Amalek synagogues and arms.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
Pope. Islam. Christianity. Egyptology. Militia. Ku Klux Klan. Aryan Nation. Skinhead. Posse Comitatus. Gable. Lesbian. Spy. Workers of witchcraft. National Space Program. Army. Navy. Air Force. Marine. Wall Street. Open up the internet. And the airwaves. Cable access channel. And the radio channel. Convict the spirit. Many of thy people. Seek to stop us. Bring swift destruction. So all the heathens. Stand in the way. Try to stop us. Broadcasting your word. Throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues. Let loose all the plagues. Cause we go to and fro. Through the earth. And consume them. Let the plague. Take the house of the thief. And the murder. Let Yahweh Shah. Michael and Gabriel. Come down with the flying saucers. Punish all the heathen. That come up against us. As we speak thy word. Cause it to be known by all. That is the angel that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media. Throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahweh Shah. Thank you always. So be it. Saw, which means the turn. Sister Yeshua. Men of Israel, gird up thy loins and prepare to salute the Torah. Yahweh Bashim Yah Shabrak. Yeah. Yahweh. Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Barak, Yah.
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabrak. Yeah.
This concludes the service.
Men of Israel, gird up thy loins and prepare. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Star, which means turn. Men of Israel, Amadium. Amadium Shabbat. Amadium Barak. Yahweh Shemar. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shabrak the Thumb.
Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shabrak the Thumb.
Yahweh Matat. Saw, which means turn. We're now men of Israel. We're now sisters Amadium. We're now going to we'll give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel. Amadium Shabbat. Amadium Barak.
Yahweh Shemar Adam Ba'ashem Yahweh Shabrak.
Yahweh Matat. Class dismissed.
It will be in September.